Anamani, no idea. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Actually, don't know.
Not really sure, yeah.
What do you think of when I say weather? So, weather is basically just the day to day state of the atmosphere around us. And it can answer things like how hot is it today, how humid is it, how dry is it, how windy is it. All these questions can actually be answered if we are able to understand weather. The weather can also warn us about potential disasters, for example, cyclones. Just today in the newspaper, I read that we might have thunderstorms later this week in Bangalore, which is where I live. And that told me that I should probably keep an umbrella in my bag and definitely take my clothes in from the veranda. But weather is a little more serious than just me or my clothes getting wet. For farmers, they need to know how badly it's going to rain or how well it's going to rain so that they can plan their crop cycles accordingly and so that our food security isn't interfered with. Similarly, people who live in hilltops need to know when to expect really torrential rain because that could make the mud slippery and cause landslides. So, for a lot of cases, I'm sure you can think of more examples, understanding the weather can be a matter of life or death. Thankfully, we have meteorologists. Meteorologists are scientists who study exactly this, the weather. And the government of India knows how important meteorologists is, just like most governments of the country. And we have an entire organization just dedicated to this. It's called the Indian Meteorological Department. The Indian Meteorological Department, or IMD, makes sure that as much information about the weather of all the places around India are found out, and this information is actually taken to the people who live there, who need it the most. Today I'm going to tell you about one of the most famous meteorologists who lived in our country, and her name is Anna Mani. Anna Mani also worked at the IMD. She joined the Indian Meteorological Department in 1945. This was the time when there wasn't really a lot happening in India dealing with weather science. In fact, even the most basic gadgets you need to measure the weather, like thermometers or barometers, which tell you the pressure, all of that was being made outside the country and we had to import everything. So there was a big push from scientists and from people in India to manufacture these within the country itself. How amazing would it be if we could just make them all in our own country? And that means that we would have more of these gadgets all over and they would be a lot cheaper. And also, things like there would be more jobs for people and there would be more skilled people who knew how to operate these machines. So, Anna joined IMD at this time when there was a lot of energy and everybody really wanted to change the situation. But it was not going to be easy. For one, there were no people who knew how to operate these machines. People who were trained in understanding what these weather gadgets were and how to work these instruments, how to get the measurements, they were far too few, simply not enough to build a factory and manufacture them. The other reason is because there weren't companies, there weren't private companies who were doing this, that the Indian Meteorological Department could merely tell them, give me 100 thermometers next week. There were no companies doing this, so they really had to learn how to do it in-house. And this is the atmosphere into which Anna Mani came in. Luckily, she was really the best person for the job. And I'll tell you why. Anna was born in a small village in Kerala in 1918. And she went on to do her bachelor's in physics in a university in Chennai. And after that, she decided to take up research. And for this, she went to the Indian Institute of Science, which many of you might know is probably one of the most famous places to do science in India today. So at IISc, not only was she doing research in this really amazing place, but she also got to do it under none other than C.V. Raman. Now you must be thinking how fantastic to be working with a Nobel laureate, right? But to be honest, it wasn't that fun. For one, C.V. Raman did not really like the idea of having women in his lab. till a few years earlier, he would just ban them outright and say that I do not want any women in the lab because women can't do science. And in fact, Anna herself, even though she hugely respected C.V. Raman for his work, has said that she was not allowed to talk to her male colleagues. Anyway, Anna managed to do a few years of work in ISC and some really good work at that. But then she got a scholarship from the government of India to go abroad to study. She chose to go to London. And this was a time when there weren't just daily flights that could take you to London in a few hours. This was a time when Anna actually had to take a long voyage on a ship. Not just any ship. She actually boarded a troop ship, which is meant for soldiers. So it's hardly a very luxurious time. But she traveled weeks, maybe a month, to finally reach London and pursue her research. In London, she trained herself in the science of the atmosphere. And she really made the most of her time there, the most of her scholarship that she got. She visited field observatories all over England and Scotland to really understand what was going on there. How were the people there working with the gadgets that they had and getting accurate measurements? She also went to factories to see how these instruments were being manufactured. After all of this, after 3 years of work in Europe, she finally returned to India and she joined IMD in their instruments division. In just a few years at IMD, Anna was able to build and train a core group of people who were actually having the skills to do everything that we needed, to calibrate, to manufacture, to observe, and to get these most accurate measurements out of the gadgets that they had. She built this core team, and it looked like maybe India was finally in a place that they wanted to be. There's another thing that Anna did. She was in touch with her colleagues at the World Meteorological Organization, and what she did was she would compare their instruments to ours, compare the readings, the accuracy, to make sure that they were on the right track. Anna had a motto. It was that wrong measurements were worse than no measurements. I wish I knew that when I was in physics lab in school and fooling around with all of our measurements. You should remember it too. So Anna was doing really well at IMD. And under Anna's leadership, IMD actually managed to have these huge workshops which were really sophisticated in their design and in the machines they had and the high-tech facilities they had for people to work with these weather instruments. And like I said, this was really important because there were no private companies that they could outsource this work to. So it was really tough, but Anna managed to build everything from ground up within IMD itself. Over the years in her work at IMD, Anna had one or two focus areas, which she became most known for. One of them was solar energy. So around this time was when people started realizing that India had a lot of solar energy, right? Most places in India get sunlight for most of the year and it's really going to waste. So is it possible that India could use sunlight or solar energy as an alternative energy source? There was no way to tell this unless you had data, and there was no data. So here's another place that Anna really had to start from scratch. She designed and manufactured a whole range of instruments that could measure solar energy and that could calculate how much radiation is in each place, so that then we could reach a place where we could decide whether is Mangalore a good place to promote solar energy. Because otherwise, imagine if they would spend lakhs building up a solar energy facility and later to realize that there isn't enough solar energy to make this profitable. So this kind of data collection was really important, and thanks to Anna's work, India reached a space where we could actually explore the opportunity of using solar energy. The next thing Anna decided to focus on was ozone in the atmosphere. And let me tell you why this is extra cool. That's because this was 20 years before the world would start to recognize that ozone was really important for our survival. While Anna turned her eyes on ozone in 1960, it was only in 1985 that the ozone hole above Antarctica would be discovered, and everybody would start panicking about oh my goodness, the ozone in our atmosphere is degrading and we have no protection against the harmful radiation from the sun. So by the time that we actually reached the panic situation, Anna Mani had already put us in a space where we could work with dealing with the ozone crisis and deciding how to go forward. When you're doing such good work, it's hard for people to ignore you. And Anna Mani was getting recognized all over the world. She was invited to become a member of many international groups and committees. When she retired in 1976, she was one of the deputy director generals of the Indian Meteorological Department. That's a very high position in this very important department of the Government of India. If you're like me and you're wondering, how on earth did I not already know about Anna Mani? Don't worry, we have you covered. In the descriptions below, I'm going to link you to some of the articles that have been written about her, some interviews that have been done with her and with the people that she worked with. And you'll see that she actually had an even more colorful journey than I have just talked to you about. Right from her childhood, there are some humorous stories which you might really relate to. And I related to it so much that I actually wrote a storybook about it. So I will link to that also in the descriptions below. If you like what we're doing here with this series and you think we should do more of it, don't forget to hit like, share it with those who you think might also enjoy it, and definitely subscribe to our channel. Till next time, bye bye.